There used to be a sign on the Brunette Dome, "Don't come back here for 40,000 years."
It's called Bikini Atoll. It's the name of an island within the Marshall Islands that was the nuclear testing grounds by the United States 73 years ago. A pivotal point in world history that many may not know or remember.
They told the people on a Sunday after church in 1946 that they were going to have to move, and this was for the good of mankind and to end all world wars, and that if their islands did not turn to glass, they would be able to come back after these first two tests.
It goes back to March of 1954, where the Bravo hydrogen bomb was blasted on Bikini Island, marking one of the largest weapons the U.S. has ever tested.
They didn't warn any of the Marshall Islanders here in the Marshall Islands that this weapon was going off. They told their own people, their military people, to go below decks on the ships, close the hatches, prepare. This is going to be a massive weapon. All the Marshallese people to the east on Rongelap and Utrecht, they were not told. And so on March 1st, 1954, this weapon goes off. It's massive. It's 1,000 times the size of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. It sends this huge cloud of ash. It vaporizes three islands, sends a huge cloud of ash into the sky, about 100,000 feet. It drifts to the east, and these people on Rongelap and Utrecht, they wake up that morning on March 1. They call it the Day of Two Suns. The sun was rising in the east like it normally does, but there was also a sun rising in the west where this weapon had gone off. And then it started to snow, and the children started to play in this. And they immediately got the effects of high-level radiation burns. Their skin was starting to peel off. Their hair was falling out. They were throwing up. No one really understood. No one had told them anything.
This changed many lives of people from Bikini Island forever, as Marshallese people cannot return to the island today due to lingering radiation from the nuclear weapons.
The Bikinians were told by Lyndon Johnson, President Lyndon Johnson, in the late 1960s on recommendations for the Atomic Energy Commission that Bikini was safe and they could go back. My wife and her entire family, when she was a little girl with grandparents, a lot of them moved back because they really hated where they live now. It's this little tiny island, Kili. It's not an atoll. It's one single island. It's very hard to fish there. So they all moved back to Bikini. The President of the United States on the front page of the New York Times was telling them that it was safe, and they went back. And within no time at all, what they discovered was people, because the ships did not go very frequently up to Bikini because it's so far away, which is why it was used for the testing, people started eating more and more local food. And the problem was that food was contaminated with cesium-137. So they were ingesting this all the time. And then when they went up and did whole body counts in the late 1970s, these U.S. government officials were like stunned that from one year to the next, there were like these 100% body burdens in their bodies of cesium-137. So they were again evacuated.
Leaving a long history of distrust between the island and the U.S. And while many long-term effects have been physical, Jack says the main effect has been psychological.
It just really gives this really poor attitude towards life because they feel like they've been robbed and cheated, and they have. And to overcome that is sometimes, and I know because of my own family, to overcome that takes an incredible amount of work by parents and grandparents because these kids can be just so, they learn almost from, the time they're born and growing up. Everything should be done because they got cheated.
And what has many from the Republic of the Marshall Islands upset recently is the release of a beer from the Dallas brewery, Manhattan Project Beer Company, who named their beer Bikini Atoll. The beer was released 2 years ago, where people from Bikini Island say they feel disrespected.
They need to know why this is disgusting and why this shouldn't be done. There's no 9/11 beer. There's no Nagasaki or Hiroshima beer. Take your pick. There's been a lot of horrific events over the course. There's no Chernobyl beer. There's been all these horrific events. Why is it that we get to make fun of Bikini? And that was the insult there.
Manhattan Project Beer Company gave a response on their Instagram stating, quote, "Our beer named Bikini Atoll was not created to mock or trivialize the nuclear testing that took place in the Marshall Islands." The beer company proceeded to say they were sharing a response because they have received quote, significant harassment and death threats, and that no further action would be taken. And that is exactly what is occurring.
They're not responding. The company is not responding to anybody. They won't let marshal these people. They've all been shut off the website. They're not allowed to put comments on there. So they don't want to hear anything.
KSPN also reached out to the brewery for further comment on the name of the beer, but received no response. Reporting for KSPN, I'm Ashley McDowell.